Now it's time for today's perspective on the programme. And today we're taking you to a place you might be most likely to see, perhaps in a Hollywood high-budget film. Imagine the delights of Paris and its monuments destroyed in some kind of post-apocalyptic world where humans are perhaps no more. Well, that is what photographers and authors of Les Ruines de Paris, or The Ruins of Paris, have done. The exhibition of Yves Marchand and Romain Meffre, currently on display here in Paris. It's a book as well, as you can see, full of all the photos. We're going to look at some of them and talk to them at the same time. Thanks very much for coming in and telling us all about it. Let's start with you then, Romain. Just tell us exactly what the exhibition is about, really.
It's about Paris, but fantasized without any people, and in ruins, basically, from monuments to coffee to restaurant to place we are used to, but just devoid of people and decaying.
And why did you decide that that was something you wanted to do?
We always been working since 20 years together as a duo of photographers, working on places such as Detroit, such as Gunkonjima, which is a ghost town in Japan. And so we are quite accustomed to the subject of ruins and modern ruins. We are kind of what they call now, urban explorers. We are kind of dig into and get to places where we are not supposed to go. And at some point, when the AI appears in our field as photographer, we saw the first result of it. It was kind of troubling, and we just try to see, to mix one of our image with some picture of a street of Paris. And then suddenly Paris appeared to be empty and decaying, and it was not perfect for the first try, but really, really troubling. And from that first shock, we decided to go further into that process and try to transform basically the city that we know into ruins here.
Yves, explain to us a little bit about how you do that, because you go out and you take proper pictures first. That's right, a lot of them as well.
Yeah, you mean for the AI? Yeah. What we done is we took some pictures in Paris. And we put them into the AI application, and also we mixed them with some pictures of the ruins we took before of other places, and to get the good to get
the best images.
Yeah, the good result. But it was not as easy as we could think, because the AI it really gives you something very, very, maybe too much spectacular. So we had to calm it down
by just adding word, adding other image, mixing other image, going back and forth, and that process was a little bit of a struggle. We knew that it was going to be complicated, but at the end we had to get to 80 images. In the book, in the series, we made over 50,000 different images that we choose from, that we correct later on in Photoshop. So that was a lot of work.
Yeah, 50,000. It's quite impressive, isn't it? Why? Well, I mean, what's the point? Because a lot of people would say, why not take nice pictures of Paris? Why take these kind of pictures? They're beautiful, but at the same time, they're kind of a bit depressing, I suppose.
Yeah, they are kind of a gathering of some of the weariness to the future, that we all got, and it comes also from that point, because when the AI come into a world as photographer, we felt a little bit threatened by that. So it's one of the worries that we put into it, and then obviously there are many other fears about the environment or future, the economics. So that all a little bit about that. And also we always been fascinated by ruins. Just the object of ruins make you think of the time flying by, the vanity of the monument that were all built. And that made building really being moving. Otherwise, you're not looking at them the same way you would look at a building that is going to disappear, to vanish. And that's why, in some way, by doing that to Paris, by transforming it in ruins, people would look Paris in a different way. We'll look at our present condition in a different way, and we like that kind of play that that it creates. You know.
Yves, Romain used the word threatening with AI there. I mean, there's a lot of worry, isn't there, amongst a lot of people about how far AI is going to do. It's quite unusual, particularly for artists, I suppose. A lot of artists are very worried about AI, but actually for artists to embrace AI, if you like. How do you feel about that? Why did you decide that rather than saying we don't like AI, to actually use it as one of your tools?
Yeah, but I'm sorry. What's the question?
Using it, because a lot of artists say that they don't want to use AI. They're very worried about AI. But you, as a group, you decided, let's do the opposite. Let's use AI and use it creatively.
Yeah. To us, it's really it feels a little bit like the invention of photography when there were only painters before. You know, it feels a little bit that tipping point. And for instance, the photography didn't kill the paintings. I mean, the painter has to move artistically in other directions. And we felt that if we were staying aside of that ongoing new technology, we would probably miss something. And what we wanted to do with that is really to take it and to struggle with it. And we managed to do a series that seems to us to be coherent from what we have done before, you know.
My colleague who was cutting the pictures, Leela, yesterday and looking at them for the first time, said that it reminded her of coronavirus when Paris was sort of deserted and there was no one around. I mean, did you have thoughts of that, either of you, when you were looking at the pictures?
I mean, probably a little bit. I think we were a little bit accustomed by that aesthetic. Only coronavirus was really just emptiness. Just now, the building were becoming really ruins. You know, it was that kind of feeling. But visually, finally, AI could allow us to go a little bit further into that universe. But probably COVID was part of one of the unconsciousness that gave us that idea.
And you've worked together, haven't you, for 20 years? I had a look online at some of the pictures. You mentioned Detroit earlier on, another project that you've done there. I mean, where does the inspiration come from, I suppose, to think of new ideas and new ways of taking pictures and developing them?
We're always looking. I mean, we're always looking. But prior to trying to do it, I mean, that was not something that was the main idea, you know. But for instance, we went back to Detroit to document it because the first time we went there was 2005, and next year would be 2025. So first of all, we keep looking around, and also we're going back to some of the places we've been into. Yeah.
Going to end by looking at one of the pictures in particular. This is of the Moulin Rouge. Hopefully we can show it to you as we talk about it. There you go. This is your created image of the Moulin Rouge. And as you were creating it, came the news story that we've reported here on France 24. In fact, I remember reading about it myself, when the sales of the Moulin Rouge actually came off, didn't they? I mean, it was sort of quite a bizarre coincidence.
Yeah. It was a very weird coincidence, actually. We put a lot of time all together because we were just next to each other with our own computer, working and prompting the Moulin Rouge to be dilapidated, to dilapidate the sails, to dilapidate the wings but it always appear when you iterate 4 images, it always appear clean, you know, with really being red and clean and new, and that was frustrating. So we spent 2 hours doing more like 400 images, and at 2 o'clock in the morning we say, well, we are done with it. It's not going to work. So let's do that later on Photoshop. We close the computer, and 24 hours later, the sails of the wings of the meats actually collapsed in the street. So that was really, really weird.
It's strange.
Really, hopefully. Fortunately, all the other monuments that we created were in good shape, so we feel that it was
you're off the hook.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much to both of you for coming in and talking to us, Romain Meffre and Yves Marchand. Their book, Les Ruines de Paris, or The Ruins of Paris. Thanks very much once again.
Thank you.
Thanks.